I struggle to know what capacity I am to play in my adult children's lives. I have certain ways that I believe we should live. But my issue is, at what point do I no longer have the right to impress those ways upon my children because they are no longer children? Now, see, they're my children, but they are not children. They're adults. My situation is a little bit more complicated because I lost custody of my children for 8 years. So there's a span of development and time of which I was not there and able to influence them. So fast forward to now and having full custody of everybody for almost 5 years now. There's a lot of behaviors and mindsets that I'm having to remold and change. But here's the kicker. They're no longer children. And so now I'm trying to figure out, where do I pull back and where do I press the issue? It's like if someone you love is not doing what you feel like they should be doing to make their life better, is it still my responsibility at this point? I understand being a parent is a lifelong job. But once your children become adults, where is that line? Where is that line? It's challenging because you want them to learn on their own, but you also want to try to prevent them from doing things that will damage their life. But if they're not adhering to the way that you feel like they should be living their lives, then what? Do you cut them off? Do you stick around and just give them advice? What do you do? And so I'm just trying to figure out, should I wait it out? Do I press the issue? I'm not really sure. Like this transition stage of when your children are like 18 to 21 and they're like still at home and they're learning how to be okay on their own, but they're like kind of bucking maybe a little bit against the authority, and it's kind of like they have freedom, but they still have a responsibility to the family. And it's like this odd transition stage where we're trying to figure out the power dynamic, because the parent is used to being the one that leads and teaches and course corrects. But once they reach out of that teenage stage and they're young adults and they're having sex and they're spending money and they're doing all the things without really a lot of the responsibility, like they're being called adults, they're allowed to drive, they're allowed to, if they're 21, drink, but like they're not thinking like adults. Their mind is not developed enough that they are mature. And I feel like they have all these expectations from like the world that they're not ready for. I'm sorry. At 18, I thought that I was grown at 18. I was married, had a baby, all that. Now at 42, I understand that I was a child. But at that time, I'd been working since I was 14 and 9 months. I'd been taking care of adults. It did not give child. And I did not think with an adult mind. I didn't. I feel like I just answered my own question. I have to continue to parent them into this transition stage. But instead of enforcing my own consequences like you would with a child, I have to allow life to give them those consequences. And that's when you get into the, maybe you have a run-in with the cops, or maybe you have to lose an opportunity, or maybe you have to get your feelings hurt, or, maybe this is just their stage of going out into the world and figuring it out. But it's challenging. I don't want to see my child get hurt, but I can't keep repeating myself. And then when you tell them and remind them of stuff, they're like, I know. Okay, well, if you know, why are we still having the same conversation? Like, you telling me that you grown and you ready to be on your own, but you can't remember to lock the door or wipe off the counter and your room's a mess. Like, it's a weird stage to be in. 18 to 21, like, they have adult feelings in their body, but their mind is not there. It's just not there. And I don't feel like they're fully prepared. I don't feel like they're fully prepared. But I also don't feel like they're completely receptive to being taught right now either, because they're grown. Remember? They're grown. So they don't have to listen. But they need to. And I don't want this to be a I should have listened to you standing over somebody's grave situation. Parenting is not easy, especially not with this age. And it's very challenging for me as a now single mom, raising males that are out of their adolescence, going into manhood, needing to be restructured in so many ways with as far as how they see the world and how they carry themselves. There's still so much to be taught. There's still so much for them to learn. But when I get met with combativeness and they're bucking against learning from me, that's when I step back. But I don't want to step back too far because I'm the king of cutting people off. You don't want to listen to me? I'll stop talking and keep it moving. You my child. I love you. I'm here. But I have to make that space. I have to make that separation, or I'll get caught up too much in what's going on in their lives. I lead from my heart. So I'm going to be over involved. I'm going to do too much. And that's just not something that I feel like is going to help anybody. So it's just very challenging to find that balance. It's very, very challenging to find that balance. And it's a challenging thing to accept also, having to just sit back and let everybody figure it out on their own. It's been hard because I've had to watch them not heed my warnings and make mistakes and get hurt. And it's painful. And I'm like, is there any way for me to change this process? But maybe this is just how they learn. Maybe this is just how they grow. I don't know. What do you think? Do you have challenges with this age group? I'd say 16 to 21. Once they hit 16, it's just like a whole new ball game. I just like, what is this thing? I swear, from like 16 to 18, they not even human beings. They just things. Like, cause what is that? All the emotions and the blaming. It's like, it's the always mom's fault for me. How is it always my fault? But okay. I have to be open to that being possible. Maybe it is my fault. But it's the accountability that is challenging for me to get them to do. You don't need to make excuses. Just accept that maybe some things need to change and it's fine. Like, it's hard to not get your kids to take it personally when you correct them. And that's why it's like, we're so far past punishments. Like, I haven't punished my kids. I can't even think of it. Like, maybe I threatened to take somebody's phone like 2 years ago, but it's like, that doesn't benefit anything to me at this age. Like, I don't, that's not where I'm trying to get at. If I'm trying to get them to understand, and it's so hard to get them to hear me and to listen to what I'm saying and to like get emotions out of it. It's challenging. I just like to get down to business. Can we look at the facts? And they just like, oh, you know, you yelled at me, all this, all that. Which that is my big thing. I just sometimes what they say is so ridiculous, or what they've done is so ridiculous. I raise my voice and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? And that's a trigger for everybody. And that's a hard pattern to break out of. Because I respond naturally. If something is ridiculous to me, I respond that way. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. You can't say it like that. Because they're not little kids anymore. I could see if they were 7, 8, 9, 10. But y'all are actually full-grown adults. And so it's like, we're low-key on the same level. So it's it's hard for me to revert back to the, oh, let me walk on eggshells around you when you were just low-key cussing me out. But, like, okay. These are the challenges of these type of things. Like, so that's what I've been doing. That's what's been going on with me in the mom sector. Just finding out my role in my adult kids' lives. How much should I interject? How much should I be interjecting at this level? Do I let them make their own mistakes? Because there's a thin line between being petty and trying to prove a point when it comes to being a parent. I'll give you an example. Okay, so they have a habit of getting in the shower and not cleaning their hair. It's so real that I have like a disposable rag that sits on the top, like in the shower with a bleach bottle. And I spend the first half of my shower cleaning. And so I'm the only one that cleans out the drain. I pulled out this huge clump of hair out of the drain. You know what I did with it? I sat it on the side of the tub. Was I being petty? No, I was trying to prove a point. Y'all need to clean y'all hair out of the tub. Take responsibility for your actions. But see, that could be looked at as being petty. I really wasn't being petty. I was trying to prove a point. But see, this is what I'm talking about. Where it comes to parenting, like, it's a thin line. It's a thin line. So I ended up throwing it away because I already saw how this was going to play out. One of them was going to go in there. They were going to see it, freak out, come in my room, and accuse me of being petty. And miss the whole point of, y'all need to start cleaning out y'all hair in the sink. So I just threw it away because it was no point. It was no point. I was not going to be heard. I'm struggling to be heard in my own home. Common, simple things. It's as if I'm speaking another language. What the heck? But I'm going to figure it out because I always do, and this is literally my job. But it's like, as a 42-year-old woman with adult children who have their own business. Now, all my kids have their own businesses, by the way. And I'm also developing my own, as well as working on my own healing and spirituality. How much energy am I supposed to put into these adult children relationships when they're not listening to me? Because we can't hang out if you're not listening to me about your life. We can't hang out if you're doing stuff that I don't agree with, that goes against what our family believes in. We can't chill if you're not doing the simple things that I ask you to do. And it's like, I've got, 5 sons and 1 daughter. And this is just not one child does this. No, this is like part of the process of growing up. And with each child, I get better and better and better. Well, I'm down to my last 3. And I'm not trying to make the same mistakes that I made with their older siblings. So I guess my challenge is to, everybody's saying don't raise my voice. I don't really know how that's fitting to change, because like some situations require my voice to be raised because clearly you're not hearing me when I speak to you like a normal human being. Like when I'm all calm, cool, and collective, everybody acts like they don't understand what I'm saying. But when I raise my voice a little bit, I got your attention. Challenging. Very challenging. Very challenging. But one thing that I am happy with is that I'm no longer internalizing any of the things that get said when I've done pissed my kids off. And I am finally hearing them say that if I would not raise my voice, we would not be arguing. So I'm going to test that theory. I'm going to test it. I'm going to do everything in my power to not raise my voice in any situation. And I'm going to see if that's actually true. Because then I was the problem the whole time. And you got that. So if they are right, that means that we should have no more arguments in my family if I don't raise my voice. I'm going to see if that's actually true. But moving forward, I'm going to start to figure out exactly what part I play in the older boys' lives. Am I an investor? Am I like a therapist? Am I a teacher? Like, where's my place in their life? Because it's like, I don't know. It's given they don't need me anymore. Honestly, what am I really here for? I don't really. If you're not gonna listen to me, then what capacity do I play in your life? Like, what's my job then? Because that was my only job. Support system, cheerleader, teacher. I don't know. Do you have challenging relationships with your adult children? And at what age did you start to pull back from them? As far as like trying to control how they carried themselves, or like when did you pull back trying to influence their decisions? At what point, like what age do you feel like is appropriate for a mom to pull back from trying to influence your child's decisions? Because they're not children anymore. They're adults. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. See you tomorrow. Peace.